Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thank you so much for tuning in here on Friday, October 11th. Hopefully everybody stayed safe out there during Hurricane Milton. Jaguars traveling across the pond. They have arrived in London after their flight was delayed. They arrived last night. So their schedule's been pushed back a little bit. We'll see if that has any impact at all. I think that this Jaguars team kind of knows the drill with traveling to London, and they'll be fine from a physical and mental preparation standpoint. But we'll see. The Bears have been there for a few days. So we'll see if that has any impact on the game, energy, etc. But right now we're getting into matchups to watch. And I'm really excited because this is a close game. In my opinion, it really is. On paper, talent-wise, it's close. Matchup-wise, it's close. It's a close one. Bottom line, it just is. Like, there is so many matchups that I'm excited to watch and or nervous to watch on both sides of the ball. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to get into. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can also check out genjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear. Become a channel member here on YouTube. Shout out to all our channel members. Thank you so much for supporting what we do here. So, matchups to watch. The first one that comes to mind for me, we'll start with the Jaguars offense versus the Bears defense, and then we'll do the opposite. Brian Thomas Jr. versus Jalen Johnson. My goodness. Okay, so Brian Thomas Jr., if you don't know, which I'm sure you do, one of the most physically gifted receivers in football, bar none. He's been incredible as a rookie for the Jaguars so far, whether it be on 9 routes, deep overs, comebacks. He's eaten. He is eaten in a big way, and he's just difficult to cover because he's 6'3", 210, long arms, 40-inch vert, 4.3 40-yard dash. He's nimble, he's quick, he's fluid. He's got good hands overall. So you've got that package, that whole thing. Like Brian Thomas Jr., one of the most difficult covers in the league with his physical skill set, right? Versus Jalen Johnson, who is one of the best corners in the league. Is he the highest paid corner in the league? Let me confirm that real quick. But Jalen Johnson is so confident in this Matt Eberflus defense and playing incredibly well. And he likes to play up at the line of scrimmage quite a bit. The Bears defense kind of is an evolution of the Colts defense. Comes from that cover 3 a little bit, right? And I'm not even seeing Jalen Johnson's. Oh yeah, there was a lot of cornerback contracts given out this year, but Jalen Johnson is a top 10 in terms of his average annual value. I thought he was higher up on that list. Great football player, though. Look, Jalen Johnson, super confident in this cover 3 scheme, plays up at the line of scrimmage. He's not the fastest corner in the world, but his technique and his physicality and the way he knows how to leverage is special. So it's going to be really, really exciting to watch that matchup. Whether it's, again, Brian Thomas Jr. trying to get deep and get behind the defense, or on these comeback routes, shallow cross, deep overs, whatever. Slot fade, whatever it may be. Jalen Johnson's going to have his hands full. And I think the Jaguars will try to move Brian Thomas around the formation a little bit in this one to try to get him free and get him into some more advantageous matchups. Because if you get him matched up with a Tyreek Stevenson or a Kyler Gordon, no offense to either of those guys, but they're not Jalen Johnson. And so that could be a much better matchup for Brian Thomas Jr. Now, deep passes in general versus the Bears secondary. The Jaguars have been pushing the ball down the field at a much higher rate this year. And for the most part, it's been pretty successful. It was very successful last week. You saw it several times. But can the Jaguars scheme things up to get behind the Bears secondary? Sometimes with Brian Thomas Jr., you don't really even have to scheme it up. He can just do it. But Christian Kirk, some of these other guys, can they get deep behind this Bears secondary, which has a lot of talent. We already mentioned Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson playing pretty well, Kyler Gordon, an athletic freak as well. At safety, Kevin Byard is out there, and you don't know if you're going to get Jaquan Brisker. He hasn't practiced yet in the concussion protocol at the other safety. But not only is it a matter of if the Jaguars receivers can get behind the secondary, if Trevor Lawrence sees an opportunity, hopefully, hopefully there's no turnovers because, and it's not like Trevor Lawrence is a turnover prone quarterback throwing interceptions all over the place, but um, the Bears secondary, they can get you a little bit. They can try to trick you with how good Jalen Johnson is, with how good and experienced Kevin Byard is. I mean, Kevin Byard has picked off Trevor Lawrence. He's probably picked off every Jaguars quarterback that's played since he's been in the league, and he's done it a lot. So that's a little bit worrisome, I think. Just the fact that the Bears have some savvy vets, really good players in their secondary, and they're well coached. So that's something to keep an eye on. Tank Bigsby versus the Bears linebackers and safeties. Look, Tank Bigsby is running as well as anyone in the league right now from a tackle breaking and creative standpoint. He still is not perfect when it comes to always hitting the hole at the right time with the right pace. There's still moments where he bounces instead of, we need a yard, put your head down, try to go get the yard, right? But he is statistically, and you go watch him, he's playing incredible football, especially on early downs running the ball. He's doing such a great job. And the Bears have really good tackling linebackers, right? Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, these guys are really good. Jaquan Brisker's a really good tackler. Kevin Byard's a really good tackler. Again, we don't know if we're going to see Jaquan Brisker, but Tank Bigsby has been one of the most consistent ways the Jaguars get big plays beyond these deep passes down the field. It's Tank Bigsby. And Travis Etienne certainly can do that. I'm not trying to, say Tank Bigsby needs to take over all the carries, although I do think Tank Bigsby should be the Jaguars' pound the rock guy, where Travis Etienne should be the space guy. I think those roles should be clearly defined at this point because Bigsby is so good and Etienne's so elusive and good catching the ball out of the backfield. But yeah, Tank Bigsby versus the Bears linebackers and safeties. And you could say Travis Etienne for that matter as well, because if Travis Etienne can make a guy miss, he's picking up a first down almost every time. So these two guys, it's going to be interesting to see if they can help keep the Jaguars on schedule, down and distance-wise, and even pick up some chunk plays. The Bears defense has been one of the best in the league, bar none. And then finally, Trevor Lawrence versus the Bears cover 1/cover 3 looks. That's their bread and butter. That's what they do the most. A ton of cover 3, which is, again, what the Colts do. They just do it better than the Colts. And they're able to get a little bit more tricky with some of their concepts. But for the most part, on a lot of early down throws, Trevor Lawrence should be able to take what's there the way he did last week. If you remember, last week early on in the game, more so than you have seen all year, Trevor Lawrence was taking the quick completions, getting the ball out of his hands early, quickly. And that wasn't just to wide open receivers. Like, it was to tight window, leverage beating throws that were just short throws. And that was helping him get in rhythm. That was helping the Jaguars offense stay good down in distance. So if he can do that, that's going to be huge for the Jaguars. And so Trevor Lawrence versus this Bears coverage, I think, will be big time. And that's really Trevor Lawrence versus himself. Like, you just got to take what's there early on to get in rhythm. And then I think you can really open it up. Got to tell you all about Underdog Fantasy. That's where I play best ball. Have a blast with their pick'em as well. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code DuvalDaily, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code DuvalDaily to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus, Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus, Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply, void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783 or text NEXT STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7-HOPE line at 1-8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. So, Jaguars defense versus the Bears offense. Early downs, and throughout this game, the Bears are going to want to run the ball. I think that the Jaguars can do a decent job stopping the run. But I'll tell you what, the one thing that has me the most nervous about this football game, Buster Brown versus DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Ronald Darby versus DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen at times. That's tough. That's a really tough matchup. The Jaguars defense, it struggled last week, and the Colts don't even have a player the caliber of DJ Moore. Like, yes, Michael Pittman's a good player, but DJ Moore is so athletic and so big, stout, explosive. Ronald Darby's going to have a tough time covering DJ Moore. And if Ronald Darby's covering DJ Moore, Buster Brown's going to be on Rome Odunze. He's a rookie, certainly. I think Buster Brown can try to hold his own a little bit, but physically, that is a bad matchup. Rome Odunze is bigger, stronger, faster, much more athletic than Buster Brown. So I think if I'm a Bears fan, I'm really looking forward to my wide receivers versus these corners. I am. I'll tell you what. If there was ever a week, I think that Ryan Nielsen needs to really dial it up in terms of disguised coverages, mixed coverages. It's this week, because I think you just got to rely on your ability to get some turnovers in this game. Stop the run, obviously, but in key passing situations, it's going to be tough for Brown and Darby to keep up with these guys. It really is. Then you look at the Jaguars' safeties, their eyes, their reaction time versus Caleb Williams, his evasiveness and playmaking. He can manipulate you with his eyes already. The Jaguars' safeties haven't been disciplined, so I think that's going to be huge for sure. And then Josh Hines-Allen versus Braxton Jones and Trayvon Walker versus Darnell Wright. In both of the games that the Bears have lost this year, their tackles have struggled in pass pro. And Braxton Jones has not been great this year. Darnell Wright's been pretty good, but in the two losses, he was getting hit, getting it handed to him a little bit, right? So Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker, they have the ability to be the best duo of pass rushers in the NFL. I think the Jaguars are going to need them to be that. Early downs, stop the run. But when it's a money down, when you got to get to the quarterback, these two got to do it. And if they can, that's going to be huge for this Jaguars defense. Finally, Parker Washington versus the ball. Devin Duvernay on IR. Looks like Parker Washington going to be the return guy. He's had a little bit of ball security issues. Hasn't really cost the team ever, even in preseason. But that's something to keep an eye on. He needs to make sure that he has that football high and tight. Does not let that come out. So I think that's going to be really big. The Jaguars have good special teams. So do the Chicago Bears. So as long as you're not costing your team with a costly fumble or anything like that, I think Parker Washington can do a very good job. That's going to do it here for these matchups to watch. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Y'all have a good one.